Hi, my name is Susie, and you have found your way to the Jellyfish Journals. In this video, I am going to do a flip through of all of the spreads that I created and used in the month of June. And at the end of the video, I will do a decorate with me for my July spread to start off the month, my July calendar spread. So let's go ahead and take a look. And this was my June calendar spread. I used the Cherry Blossoms kit. I think it's called Cherry Blossoms from Archer and Olive. I believe it's still on their website. I think it's still available. And pretty much everything here, with the exception of the black ink and the ink on here, is all from that Archer and Olive kit. So the washi tape, all of the paper backings, all of the stickers, the boxes. This is also actually from the paper in the kit. So I did here my calendar. These are all the days that I hit 10,000 steps a day. On the 12th, I hit 20,000 steps, so it got 2 little flowers. Just some events and things that were going on in the month. And then that continues on the back, more things that were happening during the month. And then this is my line a day. So just something memorable about each day, something that stood out to me, good or bad, but just a little blip. Moving on, this was my first spread for the month of June, and I've said it in my other videos, but I'm going to say it again in case anybody's new here. I don't plan weekly spreads. I almost always decorate first, and then I fill it in based on how much space I have. So I had this idea to have butterflies going up the sides of the journal pages, kind of like circularly, and then just some flowers at the bottom. And so with that layout, that only gave me room for about 3 days worth of things on my spread. So June 1st was pretty short. I think we were in Texas and we had our flight home. And then the 2nd and the 3rd, I just did a bunch of to-do lists. This was kind of right at the beginning of my summer break, and I just had a lot of things that I was trying to make sure were like kind of out of my head and done so I could start enjoying my summer. This was just something creative I started fiddling around with. My husband came downstairs when I was about to start journaling, and he had a lot of things to talk to me about relating to family stuff. And so while he was talking, I started puttering. And so I used just Crayola watercolors for all of the background color. And then I think these are just Tombow markers, that darker green. And these are just some Happy Planner stickers. And then this here I got at Dollar Tree. So it's kind of reflecting a little bit, but it says Chase the Sun. It was just like a big decal. I don't know. I just, like I said, he was talking and I listen better if my hands are busy while someone's talking to me. So yeah, so I just kind of fiddled with this while he talked, but I thought it was kind of cute. This spread was inspired by these stickers here, which I still see them at Michael's. So if you like these kind of like photo film strip type stickers, those I did get at Michael's. It came with like 3 or 4 sheets, which I didn't know. So my mom's going to get one of those in the mail, and I think I set one aside for my friend Amanda, but I have to double check that. I'm not sure. And then all I did was I went through all of my sticker books, and I pulled out matching box stickers that went with that color. So, oh, and I ran a little strip of washi in the background. So this was pink, so there's pink washi, pink box stickers, and then a little pink notation there. So I think some of these are from the Wrong rainbow box stickers. Some of them are not. Some of them are from Happy Planner. I'll link everything down in the box below that I used, that I'm able to find things for. But I just think this is kind of like a fun little punch of colors. Then I created a big packing list for my trip to Washington. My best friend Sana and I, we take a trip every year, just the 2 of us somewhere. And this year we were heading to Olympic National Park and North Cascades National Park. And I don't usually make a packing list, but I kind of fell in love with these 2 pictures here. And these came from a little kit that I got on Amazon. So I'll link that down too, of course. But I don't know, it was just one of those things where I liked these colors, but this fills up so much of the page, and I thought, you know what, let's just have some fun. Let's make a packing list. So I did, and I think I packed everything. I don't usually make packing lists because I will inevitably still forget things. So it's kind of an extra step, but I don't know, it was just kind of fun. And then these are the spreads that I did for my trip with my bestie. And we did go to the Pacific Northwest. So I found a map on Google. And what I did was I printed it out in black and white. I could have printed it in color, but then that kind of threw off the aesthetic. So I printed it in black and white, and I used wooden washi tape to frame it. And then I had this Pacific Northwest sticker kit, or like sticker sheet, that I got. I think it was Michael's, but I also think it was on clearance, unfortunately. And some of them were 3D like this, so I just peeled off the bottom layers so I could glue it down. And then what I did is I took a green Tombow and I just kind of traced all the roads that we drove on our trip. It was a lot of driving. So our goals were Olympic National Park, North Cascades National Park. And then I used my Canon IV printer and printed up pictures from our trip. So here's a picture of us at North Cascades National Park, Olympic National Park. And then we also went out to La Push. We watched all the Twilight movies together when I lived in Florida. And so this was like a pretty popular sign down there because it points to Forks and La Push. So I stuck that there. But really, all of these spreads are just what we did, where we were, a little bit of memories, and then just some photos scattered throughout of all the things we did. There's a banana slug. Those are popular in the Northwest. And yeah, just had a little bit of fun. And then this was kind of funny. It's Edward from Twilight, but he's glittery. I don't know why, but that cracked me up. So Edward got a big nod in here with his noggin. And yeah, so most of these stickers are from that Pacific Northwest sticker sheet. The washi, I believe, is from Hobby Lobby. And the stickers, these kinds of planty stickers, I used to fill it in so it looked more woodsy. Those are all from a sticker book I believe I got at Hobby Lobby. So I'll link all that. This here, I had some leftover stitch stickers from my classroom and I brought them home. They were really cute. I think this stitch paper came in a Lilo and Stitch sticker book that was at our school bookstore, and this lined paper too. So I don't know, I just thought it'd be kind of fun to make something out of it. But as you can see here, this covers 4 days. No real rhyme or reason. I kind of just keep moving forward, but I just thought it'd be kind of fun to do a little something different. And then the following weekend, my husband took me to Grand Teton National Park. And so I'm going to pull this up a little, but this big sticker at the bottom I got at the gift shop at Grand Teton National Park. And I loved how iridescent it was. So it's very rainbowy and silvery. And I remembered that I had a sticker book in a Happy Planner sticker book that had some iridescent birds in it. So I put the Grand Teton sticker at the bottom. I did not know that it would fit when I got it, so I lined it up in the middle, and I did have to trim a little off the sides, but that's okay. And then this iridescent paper is actually like, I don't know if I'd call it origami paper. It's too thick, but I think it's the size of origami paper, and that was Dollar Tree. And I intentionally bought that paper because I knew I had these stickers, and it just so worked out that I found a Grand Teton sticker that worked. So this is just a page about our trip that weekend. This one here, I kind of was having one of those days where I was like, well, I just want to do something that I don't do a lot. So I looked through all my washi, and this roll still had a ton of washi on it. So I just kind of started with that and used it as a launch pad. I think this washi is from Hobby Lobby. And these are little stickers. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, sorry, that took a second. It came in a package like this. I got this on Amazon, and it's the coolest little thing. It's got 12 little booklets in it, and all the little booklets have all of these sticker sheets, and they're all square, or I'm sorry, rectangular, and you know, they're just different. Like there's some things in here that are great for like little punches of color. There's some things that are just a little odd maybe. You know, some of them the grammar might not be completely correct, or the phrasing might sound a little weird or whatever, but I think they're just kind of fun little accents to add here and there. So I'll link that down below too. But all I did was I went through all of those books. I just did a quick flip through, and anything that had that orange color and the green in it, or had that vibe of just happiness, I pulled it out. And then I just kind of laid it all down and took an X-Acto knife and trimmed things around until I made this collage at the top. And that was a lot of fun. It took a long time, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. And apparently I still need to order my medication. Then I did a summer themed spread. I don't really do spreads for holidays partly because of the way I plan, it would be really hard to know exactly when a holiday was coming up, because sometimes I plan for 2 days, sometimes I plan for 5, and I really just do it as I go. So you'll see, like, I don't plan too far in advance ever. But I like the idea of planning for seasons. And since it had just been June 21st, which is the first day of summer, I thought, let's do a summer spread. So all of these are from the exact same Happy Planner sticker book. I have some iridescent washi here that I realized came from Target. If you've watched my videos, I've always said I had no idea where that iridescent washi came from because I got it at a yard sale. But I was at Target the other day and I saw it. It's that Mondo. I think it's called Mondo. I'm not sure, but I'll try to find it and link it. But it comes with a lot of rolls of iridescent washi. So again, this one I knew I was getting close to the end of June, and so I intentionally tried to lay this out so I could just finish up June in this spread. But I did some little fun Dutch doors here at the bottom. And so there's another day there, which I forgot to write June on, and then a little bit more here, and then just some fun there to just finish out the month. Oh, and I did do these things, so while I'm looking at it, I'm going to check those off. Make sure that's it. I do still need to order meds though. And that leads me on to my badges for my Garmin watch that I earned in the month of June. I did really good in June. You'll definitely see a difference between summer Susie and school year Susie. And I was able to get 11 badges this month. And so they're for all kinds of things. If you're curious, I'm happy to fill you in. But I screenshot the badges in the app, and then I send them to my computer, I size them, and then I print them and trim them so that all I'm getting is the little actual badge. And this time I just took one Happy Planner sticker book and I put these little ovals here. I like to make a little note of what the badge was exactly for. Some of them are pretty obvious, like 300,000. But I like to make sure I just write something for all so it's consistent. And then that sticker book had a whole bunch of these stickers that said, do all the things. And since I feel like I did all the things, I did some swimming, I did some walking, I did some running, I did some yoga, I did some weightlifting, I did like all the things. So I just kind of wallpapered it all over the page, and I'm really happy with how that came out. It's kind of fun. And that's about where I'm at now. So if you stick around, we are going to go ahead and take a look and start on my July calendar spread. So I'm really excited about the theme for this one. I have this sticker sheet of ocean animals, and I've also pulled out 3 little ink pads and 3 Tombow markers that coordinate, and of course my Archer and Olive printed calendar. So the first thing I'm going to do is erase my little notes that I leave to myself, and you're going to see that that did not work out very well this time around. You'll see in a minute. I always number in pencil my line a day, even though I could just count boxes. I think I just like to visually see if I like where it lines up. And then after I pencil it in, I go over it with a Micron 08, Pigma Micron in black. And my next step then is to take the 3 Tombow marker colors I've decided on, and I just alternate the colors. So that's what you see here. And the colors are a little similar, but I think I really like how they look together. I don't like how messy this looks. My lines are a little wonky, and I don't know, they just look a little thick. So like I've said before, I can be a perfectionist about a lot of things. Other things, I don't know why, but they don't seem to bother me. This was already kind of bothering me. Over on the left, I'm just trimming down that calendar because really all I need is the actual boxes for the calendar. And here's where I realize I've made a big mistake. So those pages there were supposed to be the first pages for July. And now I'm trying to figure out how I want to fix this because I don't want to just glue those pages together. I don't remember why, but that was just something I did not want to do. So I'm very gently scoring the back of that one page. And I think my instinct was just to take that page out altogether since I wasn't very happy with it anyway. So those two pages I intended to glue together, but I think what I realized is since I'm only going to use it as a tiny calendar Dutch door, it didn't really bother me that those pages were a little wonky. So back to the drawing board. I've already figured where I like to have those numbers, so I didn't pencil them again. And this time I'm being much more careful with those Tombow markers, and they look way better. I'm so happy for little accidents like that. The next thing I wanted to do was to figure out exactly where I wanted that little calendar Dutch door to go. And so I'm kind of just penciling around. And sorry, my window's open. It's pretty hot here. So you're going to hear some road traffic outside. But if I shut the window, it gets really hot. All right, so taking that ink and a little brush that I got in the ink section of a craft store, I'm just kind of making some wavy lines. And I started with the light blue because I didn't think it would show up on top of the darker colors. So I figured if I started with this light blue color, then I'll be able to do the darker colors kind of like, and leave some of that light blue to peek through, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The thing I didn't think about is I end up completely covering those pencil lines I just drew, and so it was kind of a useless step to draw the pencil lines. I could have cut out the Dutch door first, but I kind of liked being able to be messy with this because I knew if I just cut it, I would be trimming that extra off and it wouldn't matter. So I just kind of kept rolling with it. Now I'm adding that medium blue color, and it's starting to look kind of cool, if you ask me. I just like the gentle waviness of it. These little inks that you see me using, I don't know exactly where they came from. I know they came from Amazon, but they were part of a kids craft kit that my third grade team was doing for Mother's Day with our students. And one of the other teachers ordered it. I think it was with some sort of thumbprint magnet kit, if you're interested. I will say they are not great inks. They take a little while to dry. They kind of smear really easily, even if you're being very delicate with a brush like this. And so, not my favorite inks, but I have them, so I figured out why not just use them here and there. But you'll see in a little bit the light blue already starts to dry out. I don't like how right there in the I guess the seam of the book where the pages connect, it looks like a little vertical stripe where I tried to fill in some of that white gap because I really didn't want that white to be there. So I just kind of keep going back and forth and messing with the inks until I've got things the way I want them. I think you'll see me shove that brush in the crack. That didn't come out very well. Sorry, I didn't say that right, but whatever. Now what I've decided to do, because some of that ink bumped over to this side, I decided I'm just going to ink everything. And so I'm basically going to use the exact same process you just saw me use, but magically I'm going to fast forward so that you don't have to sit here and watch me do it over and over again. So just going around my line a day, and now you can see I've got an ocean around my line a day, and I've got that little bit there. Also realized that I meant to have my calendar on the back of this Dutch door, not the front. So I am once again creating a little box that will go around the calendar. And then I'm going to take a cutting mat and place it underneath that page very carefully and use an X-Acto knife and this ruler to cut. I do not recommend a plastic ruler. I am very likely to cut into this plastic ruler with the X-Acto knife, which means over time this ruler is not a straight edge anymore. I cannot stand the sound of metal on metal. It's like how some people hate nails on a chalkboard or the feel of cotton balls. And so I just keep using a plastic ruler. But to be honest, if metal on metal does not bother you, I think a metal ruler would serve you much better for cutting with straight lines and an X-Acto knife. But it's getting the job done, so I'm gonna pull off all that extra, and you see what I mean there. That extra just pops right off, and now I have a nice little crisp oceany page. Just gonna take a little ink and fill in any spaces that kind of have too much white on them. It really does look pretty. I'm really happy with how this turned out, to be honest. I did tuck a little extra scrap paper underneath that just until that ink dries. Like I said, I didn't want it smearing up all in my line a day on the other side. So now I am going to do the same ocean thing on the back of this Dutch door, and you'll see it magically fast forward. And I'm also going to do it on this page on the right. You're going to see that pretty much everything is getting that oceany background, and that's just going to help those pages feel cohesive. Since all of those ocean animals are underneath, oh, there you can see. I even tried to smush it down and smear it, and once I saw nothing was coming off, that went right in the garbage can. But yeah, none of those animals were above the ocean. Like there were no seagulls or pelicans or anything like that. So I figured let's keep it all underwater. And I did end up just using those two darker blue inks to create that last page, but it worked out, I think, because anytime I needed a lighter blue, I just kept using whatever ink was left on that little brush. So it's not quite the same as these pages, but the vibe is still there. Next, I am writing out July, and I'm just sort of freehanding some letters here. I like it to look a little different every month, and so I'm just kind of freehanding the letters. It's nice and short, and this is where I wanted my monthly title to go. So for my monthly, like I said, my journal pages, I don't really have a set system of 5-day weeks or 7-day weeks. I just kind of roll forward. The only thing I do that's pretty consistent is I do like to kick off each month with this calendar spread, and that's been pretty consistent and useful for me, or consistently useful. So I have just decided to stick with that, and it's a little fun. I get to have a little fun and make something kind of themey and just experiment a little bit. I pulled out a navy blue Super Tips marker, and I did test it out, but I was able to color right on top of that ink. So I'm coloring that in with a dark blue, or that navy blue Super Tip, and cleaning it up a little bit with a eraser. That is a pencil eraser. Well, that might sound weird, but I think it came with some Prismacolors or something. Once I was doing this, I'm trimming up a little bit there, I guess. So, and touching up some ink apparently. Sometimes I forget like what I do in these things. So now I'm waiting to see what I do. Oh, I'm about to date my calendar. So now I'm going to go ahead and date the calendar. So numbering all of the dates in there, and now I'm putting my little code for 10,000 steps a day, which I decided to do a little fish this time. So every time I hit 10,000 steps, I will put a little fish on that date, and that's pretty much the only habit tracker I have. I don't force myself to do 10,000 steps a day. It's just something I try to be fairly consistent with. Okay, this is what I thought I was doing next. Sorry. I decided that I didn't like how dark the word July looked with the black border. So I pulled out my Sigma Uniball white gel pen and decided to trace around the edge. And I think the ink from the marker was still a little bit too wet. You can see it's not working very well, even though I keep testing it on that black paper there. And so I kind of did what I could and flipped it over to the side. I put a paper under there again so the white gel pen that didn't dry doesn't end up on my line a day. And I'll come back to that in just a couple of minutes. Now I am pulling out blue box stickers from my Rainbow Wrong Wrong sticker book, or Wrong Wrong Rainbow sticker book. And this page is basically where I'll write any big things happening in July that I need to know about. So dinners out, doctor appointments, anything like that goes on this page. So I don't really need anything other than some white spaces to write in, or some cleared out spaces to write in. So I'm just having a little fun mixing up the shapes and the sizes of things, and kind of spelunking them left or right or whatever, and doing it that way. All right, time for some sticker fun. So the first one I put down is a whale shark. I have very fond memories of a whale shark. That is my older daughter's very favorite animal. We swam with whale sharks in Mexico last summer as her graduation gift. And once we got back, she got a giant whale shark tattoo across her ribs, or like around her side, I forget. But they're just kind of special. So I wanted to make sure that one had a space. As far as the other stickers, I pretty much just tried to spread them out. I just tried to find places where I thought they kind of looked cute. I didn't want too many of the same colors next to each other. I wanted them to go over the boxes a little bit. Now, I will say, I don't think these are the most repositionable stickers. It is possible that because of the ink on the page, they just weren't working out too well. But if I did try to move one, it would peel up the paper. So I think that's a pretty good chance it's the ink. Actually, you know what? It might not be, because I just remembered I tried to peel up this crab and it started to tear the sticker. So just a heads up, I also have a set of these stickers with birds on them. They kind of look almost like stained glass in a way. They're just so pretty. They have like a raised gold edge around them. I got them at Hobby Lobby. And I just love them so much. I just thought they were really pretty and just kind of fun. So no regrets. This will be the only spread I use them in, and they'll be done and used up now. But yeah, so I'm trying to peel this coral up really carefully. You can kind of see it tore the page a little, and then I just pulled it over just enough that it covered up the part that it tore. And now that things are a little drier over here, I'm going back over that with that Sigma Uniball white gel pen, and you will see it definitely works much better now that that marker is dry and things are looking much crisper and sharper. And I'm so glad I took the time to do that. I think it just, I don't know, really kind of made the month look more summery and fun. And trying to find a spot for this guy. This is my least favorite sticker. I think he's supposed to be a hammerhead shark, but it's just not gelling for me. So sadly, he ends up not making the cut. Just gonna throw on a few more little stickers here and there. A little bit of last minute decorating. I decided across the top here to have some fish just kind of swimming in a little line there. A good thing to note is sometimes I go a little sticker crazy, but knowing I was using most of these stickers and I probably would not have a use for one or two left over, I really do sometimes try to use as many as I can. So that last big whale you're gonna see, I did find something else to stick him on in my craft area. He does not go in the garbage, but poor little purple hammerhead there, he does end up in the trash. So trying to see if there's anywhere to put anything, but I think that's gonna do it. All right, so here is the finished product. This is for my line a day, so just a little place to write down things that happened each day. I've got my monthly title here, and on the back is my calendar that I printed from Archer and Olive. And my little code for 10,000 steps a day. I decided to do a little fish this time. And then I've got some empty spaces here where I will track some activities and things that are happening this month. That is about it. That's all I got. They've got a little gold on them. They're so stinking cute. And I think that is about it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.